Daniel, good morning here in New York City. I'm looking at you and I feel like I'm home. You look like a Texan. You're tall, you're lean, you got your jeans, your boots. Have you ever been to Texas?
No, I haven't. No.
Well, we have to get you down there.
Well, is that an invitation?
Sure, absolutely.
Great.
Do you think you'd like to make a Western type movie? Be a cowboy or something like that?
I think I probably have that in common with just about every other boy that grew up looking at Westerns, yeah. Yeah, love to.
Who was your favorite Western hero in
Clint.
movies? Clint!
Of course.
All right.
Who else? Yeah. Still is.
Let's talk about The Last of the Mohicans. First of all, congratulations on your performance, and to all of you. I think you people have an Oscar-nominated type picture. I really do. It's just a glorious motion picture, wonderful to look at. And your performance is really something. I enjoyed it a lot. Of course, you have an Oscar for your 1989 performance in My Left Foot, which is one of my favorite films of all time. In what way was this role more difficult or more challenging for you?
It's very difficult to compare one experience of making a film to another, because each one is so complete unto itself and such a separate and self-contained life that there's no point at which I ever do feel the need to compare. I never...
Well, let's talk about the physical part of this one, Daniel. I'm watching you cavorting around up there on the screen. I mean, you're like an Olympic athlete up there. What did you do to get ready for this movie? Well,
strangely enough, I've always loved to run. I mean, that's always been something that I've loved to do, and it was probably the one form of physical exercise that I was banned from doing most of the time when I wasn't actually shooting, because I was doing other forms of training and needed to put on some weight, and I lose weight very easily, and when I run I just disappear. So it was a kind of liberation for me when I was able to really kind of stretch my legs when we were filming. Although running through forest is very different to running on a track or running through a park or something, because people don't make paths for you and they don't get boulders out of the way and things.
Well, and you didn't get to run in Nikes either, did you? Or did you? Did I strike a nerve?
No, we didn't. We didn't. But we did have. Shouldn't really. It's not because I don't want to give anyone free advertising, but it's just that. I think it's a shame to kind of to puncture the illusion. But we were wearing moccasins, but they were adapted to some extent. The soles, at any rate, because traditionally the soles of moccasins are flat skin, flat hide, which then becomes very shiny, especially if it's in contact with pine needles and resin and stuff. And it's less than no grip at all. And I don't understand how they managed to make them work in those days, but they did. And I wore them for part of the time, but for some of the more kind of rugged work, it was necessary to have some grip.
Had you ever read the novel, or had you seen the 1936 movie?
Didn't see that. No, I didn't. In fact, I haven't seen any of the films that have been made of Last of the Mohicans, and I did finally read the book, but not until after I'd read the script.
When you read the book, did you see anything different in your character?
Yes.
Would you have changed your character if you'd read the book first?
If I'd read the book first, I would have passed it on to somebody else, probably, that I thought might be interested in it. I don't think I'd have really considered it as a possibility for myself.
Why not?
I'd probably have felt that the requirements were sort of outside of my it's hard to describe, but I mean, I felt that even about the script, and it was a long time before I decided to take it on anyway, in spite of the fact that I thought it was quite an odd thing for me to be doing. But I was just compelled because I was fascinated by it. But I did think it was a fairly odd thing to be doing. But I'd have felt it was a lot odder if it had been purely based on reading the book.
You mean just?
He's a very different character in the book, I think. And there's something that's very disturbing to me too about, which perhaps I can't get my head around, but he never loses one opportunity of stressing the fact that there's not a drop of Indian blood in his veins in the book. I don't know if you remember, but he's always talking about how, well, they're great people to hang out with, but don't forget that there's not a drop of cross blood in my veins. He's sort of verging on being a white supremacist without ever actually saying it.
But we don't get that in the film at all.
I hope not.
No, not at all. There isn't even a hint of it.
Yeah.
Daniel, we've used up our time, but it's been delightful talking with you. And that invitation to come to Texas stands. Let's work on it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.